Hi, this is Claire from Soul Life Loving. I thought I'd talk about one of the spiritual experiences I had when I started to go in towards the divine feminine, divine masculine within one body thing. And up to this point, I had a specific divine masculine, a specific divine feminine, and the divine masculine had more power because I was so defensive. I came in like a bomb, to be ferocious and defensive, and my divine masculine had the sword and he led, and my divine feminine had a kind of back seat. But with all the work, the spiritual work that I've been putting in, and the meditations and the deep meditations where I was definitely following, and I not that I was lost in it, I just needed to do it. I just needed to do this. It was really, really important, and because my higher self had come in and joined with me, and that raised my vibration. It then raised it enough that I could do the next mission, the next task, along that line. Because until I got powerful enough and high vibration enough, I couldn't start clearing this timeline properly, because I didn't have that kind of power, know-how, energy, vibration. I didn't have it. So it was all leading up to that. So I wandered into this forest. This is with my guide. And I said, I feel really odd. I want to lie on a healing bed. They're like floating healing beds that I can lie on, and I can call in a green healing energy or a blue healing energy, or whatever it is that I feel like I'm missing, or I can just put it out there and say, you know, whatever my body and spirit needs, can somebody step forward? And they do have to have my highest good, they do have to love me, they do have to pass my gatekeeper. But what I'm calling are, well, I call, they're like higher vibrational light beings. That's what they are to me. It turns out they have names. Well, you know, other people have named them. And so there's a few come in, but on this particular occasion, this source called Michael came in, and he's like my kind of the guy that my divine masculine asks for information on how to deal with something that he's concerned about, some security issue or a safety issue, or how to deal with somebody that's got more power than me, and I've got to outflank them, especially if they're in the wrong, and what they're doing is actually harming me, and I need to outflank them to win that particular battle for myself. So that's the spirit that comes in. And it was really odd, because he just said, oh, come with me. And I got up, and I left my body behind and followed him. And I said, guide, because I've gone off before on journeys, and I've come back to my body on this healing, green healing bed, or a gold healing bed. Sometimes it's a white healing bed, and I've come back to it. But this time, where he was leading me, it was going through a portal, and I thought, oh, and he said, no, it's fine, I'll stay here and I'll watch this, you go off. And I thought, well, all right then, if you say so. And it was strange in that I felt uncertain, and I thought, this is one of those times when you just have to trust. You have to trust your guide, and you have to trust who you're with. Because honestly, if you meet people, if you meet spirits that have not got your highest good, and you're not protected, and you haven't protected yourself because you don't really know how, they have a different energy signature and it feels really off. So although I was apprehensive, their energy signatures were fine. So I thought, oh, well, I'm going to have to. And right, every time you go through a portal, Colette, before you go through this portal, you have a violet flame cleanse. And you say out loud, I release all that is not for my highest good. I release everything within me that is not for my highest good, and I command it, and so it is. And the violet flame will cleanse it. When I go through this portal, I want that portal closing, and I want it cloaking. So nothing that I leave behind can follow me through, because that's done. And so I did that, and I stepped through this portal. And when I stepped through this portal, my guide was there, and I was like, I thought you were watching my body. And your body's here, Colette. Oh. So I appeared, and it was in a forest, and I thought, oh, because I love forest. I thought, oh, it's a forest. With all the trees, I love it. It's really peaceful. Middle of a forest is really peaceful. I like pottering along, and then I stopped, and there was a clearing. And when I got there, it was really weird. There was my divine masculine, there was my divine feminine. And they were being cleansed. And I heard them say, this is your divine masculine, this is your divine feminine. We're cleansing them. And what's going to happen is, over there is a brand new body, this one body, and they both can enter this one new body. Oh. But you have to agree to it. You have to accept that they both have to be equal now, that it can do that. But your divine feminine, which is what happened on the previous video, where my higher self came into me and raised my vibration, my divine feminine vibration was now at the same tone as my divine masculine. And now they've got the opportunity of going in this brand new body together, totally cleansed, vibrating at the same rate. So it's a shared thing, and it's what you need to do. This is your next step. And I was like, oh okay then. Let's do that. Let's do that then. Let's do that. And as my divine feminine stepped up towards this new body, my divine masculine stepped up to this new body, Michael said to my masculine, my DM, you can't take your sword in there. And he went, pardon? You can't take your sword in there. It's a divine place. You can't take a sword in there. So you have to give me your sword, and I will be your sword bearer. So anything that you were doing before for her, I will do for you. You just ask me. But you can't take your sword in there. Anyway, me standing there watching this, jaw dropped, burst into tears, felt completely vulnerable and unsafe, because my DM's been, a knight of swords for me. Completely fearless, and I'm take on anything. And to suddenly find that he was going to have to hand over his sword, it really, really wobbled me, and I was just crying, because it's like, Jesus, sorry to offend, but it's a bit shocking. It's a bit shocking when they're asked to do that. But it was, you have to do this, because I trust Michael. I trust this energy source that's been advising me, because his advice has been absolutely spot on and it's resonated and I felt it. So I knew it was all right. Just let him have the sword, Michael. Just let him have the sword. And he did. And when he did, I had this, took this enormous in-breath. Like I thought my lungs were going to pop. And when I breathed out, it was such a sense of relief that I'd given that responsibility now, because I didn't need it. I didn't need that kind of ferocity anymore. I'd reached a stage where I was fine. Anything that was going to come at me from there on in would be a combined attack, if I had to, from everybody, and not just from me, all on my little own, having to defend myself. And so they got into this new body, and they became in this one body. And when that happened, myself blended in with it, and the vibration in my ears went through the roof, and everything was shaking while it sort of settled down. But because of the first one that I'd had, I knew what was coming, and so I was like, I didn't want to rush to the toilet and have a wee. So it worked out all right, and eventually it kind of settled down. But in the real world, that took huge amounts of energy out of me, and I was really depleted and tired, like really tired. And every time I did a meditation for about a week, I would just fall into a really deep sleep, and then I would sleep really heavily at night, and then I would have another sleep after a meditation, and slowly but surely I could feel my energy levels coming back up. And that changed how I felt on the inside towards everything. So instead of me seeing the threats, I was observing whether they were an actual threat. And then I had to walk around for weeks after that. And every time, because my body was used to doing it, it's a thing that I would just do that. I've done it for so long, I was still doing it. I was still looking to see where attacks could be coming from and how I could defend against it, so that if anything happened, I could just kick off against it. And I had to get out of that habit. So I was walking around and seeing something that was a bit dodgy to me then, and going, no, it's not dodgy, just observe it for a bit longer before you decide what to do. And you know, you can always cross the road, you can always turn around. You don't have to go forward and meet it anymore. And I had to retrain my brain from a negative reaction that was in there to protect me originally, and has protected me. My God, has it saved my hide on a number of occasions. But I needed to stop, because I didn't need to be at that level anymore. So I was exhausted doing that. I was stopping myself and checking myself and stopping myself and checking myself all the time. No, you don't need to be. No, stop that in your head, going off on a scenario. No, stop that, stop that, stop that. But after a few weeks, I'm a bit stubborn, it kind of eased a little bit. So I was more observing it rather than being up, ready for it. I was back there looking at it. And a lot of things that were triggering me, triggering my defense or triggering my DM, were not real at all. They weren't something I had to have a defense against. They were just observable, and I could avoid them and weave through them, and quite often they weren't anything at all, and I just projected onto them, because I was hyper vigilant to try and keep myself safe and try and keep my family safe. So from that, it worked out really well. And that's the end of that story.